Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, just here with some quick pickups for you. As I said, I don't really get to do much game hunting, and all of my game hunting is done online. And so I had four games that came in the mail yesterday, tested all of them out, made sure that they were authentic, and the labels on all of these are pretty good for the most part. These were all GameStop online pickups, so I'm pretty stoked to have gotten these in this condition. Um, a couple of these are re-editions back into my collection, meaning these are games I had before, either traded away or sold, and now I have them back. And so I'm pretty glad to have these back. As I've mentioned in other videos, my game hunting has been very minuscule. I don't even do a lot of these pickups videos anymore, but I figured I'd show you some of the latest additions to the collection. So let's dive into it. The first one is going to be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. This is a pretty interesting NES game. I thought it was going to be more of a side scroller than it actually is. But nonetheless, it looks like a decent game. I haven't gotten too far into it. This is one that I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time with. The best part about it is that it wasn't expensive at all. This was like a $10 game, so I'm not mad at that. I took a flyer on this one just to see what it was about, but was stoked to get this one back. Next up, we have Earthworm Jim. So I already have Earthworm Jim 2 on the Super Nintendo. Was still missing the original Earthworm Jim. And while I would have loved to get that one on the Super Nintendo as well, this one was the one that was available on the website, so I went ahead and snagged it up. Earthworm Jim is a classic. Big fan of Earthworm Jim. I actually first played Earthworm Jim on PC. I had the PC CD-ROM version of Earthworm Jim, which I think has the same soundtrack or music as the Sega CD version of Earthworm Jim. Um, I'm pretty sure. But all in all, Earthworm Jim is a classic, kind of like side-scrolling run-and-gun shooter. Really great graphics on Earthworm Jim, and I actually grew up watching this cartoon back in the day. So something about Earthworm Jim just screams like peak 90s action character. In the 90s, they were always taking animals, insects, something, and turning them into a superhero, and Earthworm Jim was just another kind of grungy spin on that. So huge fan of Earthworm Jim. Was glad to find this one and add it to the collection. Next up is Comic Zone. So Comic Zone actually is a really cool game. So Comic Zone was one of the first games that I played actually for the Sega Genesis at a friend's house. And this is probably one of my favorite Sega Genesis games, just because of everything about it, between the concept, the graphics, the storyline, and the gameplay. This is actually a really, really cool game. Basically, you're like a comic book writer who gets sucked into his own comic book, and you basically have to fight your way through the comic and beat the main enemy, the main master in the comic book, defeat him, and then you can get back to your regular life in the real world. It's super cool, super nostalgic, and basically you have to go through each pane in the comic book. So each comic book box, you kind of have to just go from scene to scene, fighting your way through. This game is pretty cool because it's not exactly linear. Like, you know how in comic books you have different comic book boxes all over the page? You can actually choose different paths, and some boxes are going to be more challenging than others. The really cool part about this game is all of the different Easter eggs and the cheat codes that you can use. That rat that you see right there, that rat is actually kind of like an ally. And so you're able to carry up to like 3 different weapons as you move throughout the game. And they've got different weapons between knives, bombs, like special attacks, and then you have that rat. And the cool part about that rat is that, one, he can actually help you. Like, if you're fighting, you can like release him and he'll like actually bite enemies for you, which I think is super dope. And then also, if you let him go, like if you set him out to explore in certain parts of the game, he can actually uncover like secret weapons and secret like power-ups and stuff for you throughout the game. What it'll do is it'll actually tear a piece of the page apart, and that will reveal like a special like item. And so I think that was really cool. The funny part about this game is that the first couple times I beat this game, I didn't know that the main character had like a special attack, which that attack is where he transforms from like being like a regular dude into like the superhero, and he does this like power punch, which kind of like clears the screen. And I didn't even realize that that was an attack when I first got the game, because when I first got this game, I got it in a cartridge format like that, so I didn't have the instruction manual or anything. Um, but the music in this game is really cool. It has like that 90s, that like late 90s grunge band music to it. Um, I don't know if, I guess you could call it rock, but it's not like hardcore rock. I'm trying to think of a band that would, you know, kind of exemplify the music here, but I don't really have one that comes to mind. But it just reminds me of like 90s Angel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer style music to it. That's the feel that I get from it. So very cool soundtrack. There is an actual soundtrack that comes with this game, and the music in this game is very catchy. So that's super cool. There is a cheat code for this game that I used to use. Like after I beat it without the cheat code, I'm pretty sure every other time I played this game, I used a cheat code. And the cheat code is basically where you don't take damage. So you can just kind of play through the game and not really take any damage. The only bad part about that cheat code is that there's a level that you get to where there's like lava, and you have to jump over the lava to get to the final boss of that level. The problem is that that jump is harder than it looks, and without the cheat code, if you touch that lava, you just automatically die. Which is okay, because then you could just play the level over again. The bad part is that if you have the cheat code activated and you get to that level and you jump and you touch the lava, the game freezes, because the main character freezes because he can't die, because he can't take damage. But that lava is supposed to be like an instant kill. So he's just frozen in place and the game freezes and you have to like restart it. So, and that part of the game is like pretty deep into the game. So you would have played pretty far into the game just for it to freeze on you. So there's like a give and a take with that cheat code. You just have to be really careful once you get to that lava level. But it's just really cool. There's, I think the last master, he is just hilarious. As you're fighting him, he keeps telling you, he's like, your kung fu is good. Like, it's just, the voice acting in this game is just really cool. I can't talk about Comic Zone enough. It's just a sick game. And I actually had it loose in my collection before, and I sold it because I thought, okay, I'm gonna get this complete. Saw how much the complete copies of this game go for, and said I am not gonna get this game complete because it was way too expensive. Because Comic Zone is one of those Sega Genesis games that you can get either complete or you can get it complete because it has like a little bit of extras in it. So obviously complete is if you get it with the the cardboard box, the cardboard insert tray, the manual, and the game. Well, this game, if I'm not mistaken, it came with like another special insert and a CD-ROM. So if you have this game complete with the CD-ROM, that is really pricey. That to get it, it's pretty pricey. And there's a few Sega Genesis games like that have little extras in them. I know Captain America and the Avengers, I think it comes with like a pin or something like that. Same thing with the Punisher, that has like a little bit of extras in it. That was the cool thing about the Sega Genesis era too. Like you didn't necessarily have to have a special edition game, quote unquote, to get some extras in it, like a poster or a pin or a tattoo stamp or something like that. So Comic Zone was one of those games, very fun game, and it was also available on PC. So this was a game that I played. I think I might have actually played this on the PC first, then played it on the Genesis. But that soundtrack, that CD-ROM soundtrack, is definitely worth it. Comic Zone has some really great music to it. Highly recommend you play it if you've never played it. As you can see, I am a big fan. This one is definitely a mark on my childhood. Played this game way too much. All right, last but not least, before I show this game, I have to give a shout out to Easy Gamers. Easy Gamers actually offered to give me this next game for free. I told them to hold on to it for me, and that the next time I'm in California, we could do a trade. I'd bring some games out to them. But Easy, you don't have to hold that game for me anymore because, wow, bam. So the day after Easy Gamers offered this game to me for free, it just popped up on GameStop's website, and I was like, the irony. Look at that irony there. And so Contra 3 is another childhood classic, and I'm just shocked that I don't have this game. I didn't have this game in my collection. And I feel like I have all of like the major staple Super Nintendo games of my childhood, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, Final Fight, Mario, Super Mario World. all the like the main action games, I just didn't have Contra 3. So and I didn't really care to get this complete in box. Like I have Super Castlevania complete in box, and you know, a bunch of like my, you know, like not what's the word I'm looking for? Just the classics, you know what I mean? No like real rare bangers, because there's nothing really rare exclusive about Contra 3. It's a pretty common game. But I just didn't have it. So easy, thank you. If you were holding it for me, I appreciate it. You could actually sell your copy, make some money. I did find this copy, but I still will plan on connecting with you if I'm ever in Southern, or whenever I get to Southern California. You know, hopefully we can link up and do a bit of an exchange there. But yeah, Contra 3 did get this one in, so I was really stoked to have this one added to the collection. Just a really cool run and gun shooter, man. Just a classic run and gun shooter. Really hard to beat Contra 3 when it comes to the run and gun genre. All right, and then I have one more pickup. This is probably the best pickup of the week so far. It's Friday. Totally stoked about this one, and it's going to be something that you were not expecting, and it is boom. So this Canon FD 55 millimeter 1.2 lens. So for those of you who know, I'm actually just getting some gear together. I'm actually going to be going away, and I'm putting all of my camera gear together, because I'm going to just be doing a lot of filming, a lot of photography, a lot of film, and just, you know, just capturing moments with the fam. Because we're going with a little baby, we can't get too active. We can't go do too much hiking or too much, you know, activities. We will be engaged in activities, you know, while we're there, but we're going to keep it a little bit more on the mellow side. And that just gives me a ton of opportunity to just get some really great photos and videos of the family while I'm on the beach. And so, vintage lenses are really a really awesome way to get some really unique images. You know, a lot of people say, you know, you can always shoot video on your phone, or you can take a photo on your phone, but there's a completely different feel when you shoot on an actual camera with a vintage lens. The image just has a very different feel, a different vibe to it. And things just tend to look a bit more cinematic. Some people don't care about that. It's just the same way some people don't care about original hardware. I am a sucker for all things unique, all things vintage, all things authentic. And so there's just something very authentic about the images that you get when you shoot on vintage lenses. So this was an awesome Canon 55 millimeter f1.2 lens. This is a lens that allows in a lot of light, and just gives that creamy effect in the background. That's called bokeh. So that's kind of like that dreamy effect that you see. And it's something that a lot of filmmakers use whenever they're, like, if you've ever watched a scene in a movie where the main character is like having a flashback to the past, and like the main character's in focus, but everything in behind him or her is like blurred out. That blur is called a bokeh. That's what we know as bokeh. And it takes a certain type of lens to produce that type of bokeh. iPhones try to reproduce that image. Whenever you go into portrait mode on your iPhone, that portrait mode kind of tries to artificially create that bokeh effect, but it just doesn't have a very natural look to it. Most people probably won't notice or care, because they're just not paying that much attention. But those who watch and know, that you can feel the difference between a natural bokeh and an artificial bokeh. And sharp lenses, or not sharp lenses, but fast lenses that have low f-stops, so like a 1.2, a 1.4, 1.8, even all the way up to like an f2, those tend to produce a very nice background blur, or bokeh. And that's the specialty of this lens, which I think is going to be beautiful, because not only does it produce a great bokeh, but it also has really good colors. It produces really good colors. And when you're on an island where the sunsets are this blend of like fuchsias and oranges and pinks and blues and greens, you really want to have something that will really capture all of that color and really just highlight it. So this is an amazing lens. Super stoked to have this. I will be pairing this lens with my Sony A7S, because this is going to be like a very part of my low light setup. So think sunsets, think nighttime, think early morning, think right after the rain. That's this setup. I'm gonna be pairing that with my 50 millimeter. I've had this in my collection for a long time as a part of my camera gear. You might say, Y2K, why would you take a 50 millimeter and a 55 millimeter? Well, the 50 millimeter has a lower aperture. It's actually a 1.4. This lens, the difference between this lens and this lens is that this lens produces a much sharper image, in my opinion, than the 55 millimeter. It produces a sharper image, and it doesn't have as a shallow of a depth of field. So, and I think that enables it to be a little bit sharper. It's also lighter. This is a hefty lens. Like, this lens probably weighs the same amount of this camera, maybe a little bit less. It's a very chunky, beefy lens. It's made of like mostly metal and a little bit of plastic. And that's what I love about the vintage lenses. They're like mainly metal. Whereas like you have a modern lens for the Sony, this is like this is a very plasticky light lens. So was stoked to get this lens also because it did come with the lens hood, which I think I'm gonna need because this lens actually produces a lot of flaring, which in some cases will be good. Like if you're shooting a sunrise, which I've done before. I've gone up to the top of Mount Haleakala. If you've never heard of that, that's a mountain that has, I think, one of the NASA telescopes out in Hawaii. It's really, really high. You're like really high in the air. Like you're literally above the clouds when you're at the top of that mountain. And if you ever see a sunrise from Mount Haleakala, it'll change your life. But I've taken photos from that mountain, and they've produced some really amazing flares right when the sun is rising. So I'll share some of this in a video. I'll do like a edited video, and I'll share some of these images that I'm talking about so you guys can get a feel for what I'm talking about. But yeah, so this will be part of my low light camera setup for vacation. And then I'll also bring another lens that I've had in my collection. This lens has been through it. I've used this lens a bunch, but this is the Canon FD 35 millimeter, well, 35 to 70. Really good for establishing shots and kind of getting some of those macro shots. These lenses are not expensive, honestly. A lot of these lenses, especially like the 50 millimeter and 35 millimeter, these lenses are like under $100, which is a great thing. Sometimes these lenses can get very expensive. So if you can save money, that's always good. This Sony Nifty 50 is also pretty inexpensive. It's like a $200 lens, brand new. This lens is also about a $200 lens, so really good deal here. And lenses can get very expensive, you know, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 lenses can get very, if you think retro games can get expensive, forget about it. Lenses could get through the roof. So super happy about this pickup and super happy about my low light setup. I think the gear is complete between the lenses. I still have the drone, which I have to start doing some practicing. And then I have my GH5 setup, which I've shown you guys as well. So yeah, really, really stoked. I might do some streaming this weekend. I think I'm going to stream a little bit of Comic Zone this weekend. I'm really stoked to have this game back in my collection. Show you guys what I'm talking about. This game is a blast from the past. I'm so stoked to have this. And I'll let you guys get some of the footage there. But look, that does it for me. Hopefully you guys had a great week and are going to have an even better weekend. My weekend is going to be jam-packed with some more family time, probably do a stream with some Comic Zone, and I will catch you all with probably another edited video and doing something for the members of the channel. I do have the giveaway going right now. I'll probably announce the winners of the giveaway probably towards the end of next week. Appreciate everyone that entered in by commenting on that video. Again, the members that have entered will have a chance to win a $25 gift card. Subscribers of the channel, you don't have to be a member to participate. You just got to be at least a subscriber. If you are subscribed, you are entering for a chance to win a $10 gift card. So appreciate you all. And that does it for me. I will catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.